Am I the a-hole for tricking my ex into breaking up with me and moving on? I, male 31, own a franchise coffee shop which I also manage. I have a university degree but no interest in pursuing a career in what I studied. I am not living off my parents' money. I'm living off money from my great-great-grandfather. I bought the coffee shop because I liked working in one when I was in college. And I like providing a good place for people to work where they're not expected to put up with any crap from customers. I was dating a woman I met through friends. She is in banking and she does very well for herself. She is beautiful and smart, probably smarter than me. She knows I have a degree and that I'm the manager of a coffee shop. She said it did bug her, but then it did. She said that she needed someone with a future and not someone who was squandering his education as a barista. My family never discusses money with people. It gets awkward. We also don't splash it around. But none of us really need to work or get education, really. My little brother always joked about just buying a villa when he got his trust fund and laying in bed while sturdy women rolled him around with kayak pedals so he didn't get bed sores. He got his teaching degree and is happy as an elementary school teacher. Anyway, she broke up with me because she couldn't see a future where she was the breadwinner and I stayed home with the kids. I said I understood and let her go without much of an argument. Then about 18 months, I met a woman at work. She's a regular and she's perfect. She is a law student. She started late after serving in the military. We are getting married this summer. I invited my friends, obviously, and it got back to my ex that I was getting married. She texted me to congratulate me and ask if I was registered anywhere. I told her that I appreciated her congratulations, but that if she wanted to gift us, anything she could donate to the SPCA in our name since we didn't really need anything. She said I should swallow my pride and just accept a gift from an old friend. I told her that anything she chose to give us would be welcome and that we would be thankful. I guess she went to my friends and found a registry. She texted me again and said that my registry was ridiculous and that I was greedy asking for such expensive stuff. I told her that my mom had done the registry and that if she wanted, she could just put money towards one of the gifts. A week later, she came by the coffee shop and had a printout of some stuff. She asked to talk to me privately, so I took a break and sat down with her. She had printed out screenshots of my registry with most of the expensive gifts already taken. She asked me who was buying me all this stuff. I said it was just friends and family. Then she pulled out a bio of my grandmother whom she had met when we were visiting Florida. She asked if it was the same woman. I said yes, but please don't go telling people about my family. She kind of lost it. She said she thought she was wasting her time with me waiting for me to quit my job and actually get a real one. I told her that I didn't want to pay someone else to manage my shop, so I go be miserable doing something I didn't love just to get money I didn't really need. Now she is pissed that I cosplay a poor slacker to float through life, and that she would have been happy to let me live my life the way I was as long as she knew I could contribute as much as she was to the relationship. While we were together, I paid for everything. Nights out, dinners, gifts, even our trip to Florida. I guess she thought I was maxing myself out to impress her. I never even thought of it really. My credit cards are set for full automatic payments every month. She told our mutual friends about my family and they're conflicted. Some knew but were polite and didn't say anything. Some are pissed because they felt guilty whenever we would go out and we would split the bill. I guess they too thought I was just flashing my barista tips to fit in with the group. Some also think I should have told her that I'm a trustafarian before I let her break up with me. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. I can see that she wanted to be with someone that would be putting equal into the relationship. I think that's fair enough. But if she did think you were maxing yourself out on credit cards, why not say something? But then contacting you just reeks if she thought she was the best thing you were ever going to get and wanted to buy you the most expensive thing on the list to feel good about herself and then saw these expensive gifts. Then she became a gold digger because she couldn't leave it and said she would have stayed with you had she known. I think your instincts knew she wasn't the right person for you and that's why you never told her about your money. If she thought he was poor and getting into debt to impress her, that's really off. She should have wanted to contribute to not see her partner getting into debt. Not a good quality for a life partner. She also could have just sat him down and expressed her concern for his finances and her would have reassured her. If she had actually tried to talk about financial plans and goals, he would have told her. Instead, she just informed him she was breaking up when he wasn't changing his life in a way she never expressed she wanted him to. If she thought he was poor, why did she let him pay for all the things? Did she want to use him till his money ran out and then get out of his life? She's either a gold digger or a snob. Either way, Opie dodged a bullet. Not the a-hole. She not only sounds like a gold digger, but the fact that she dug to find out more about your financial situation way after you split up and are engaged is pretty crazy, to be honest. Definitely dodged a bullet. But congrats and good luck on a marriage. A true digger for gold would have done better diligence when she was still dating the guy. She's just a clown. Showing up to his place of work with a printout of the registry list to 1. Point out they have expensive taste, 2. People are actually buying them the items, and 3. To find out who etc. has given me a massive dose of secondhand shame and embarrassment. And then she let their whole social circle know about his wealth at the end. One last stick of dynamite before she's out. Truly toxic. Am I the a-hole for not giving my husband my escape money when I saw that we were financially struggling? I, 34 female, have recently ran into a situation with my husband, 37 male, and I'm curious about if I am the a-hole here or not. So me and my husband have been together for 8 years, married for 7. When I got married, my mother came to me privately and talked about setting aside money as a rainy day/escape fund if worst came to worst. My husband has never showed any signs of being dangerous and rarely even gets upset. But the way my mother talked about it, it seemed like a no-brainer to have. When me and my husband got together, we agreed I would be a stay-at-home wife. We are both child-free, so that was never a concern. My husband made a comfortable mid-six-figure salary. All was good until about 2 years ago. He was injured at work in a near-fatal accident. Between hospital bills and a lawsuit that we lost, that ate up nearly all of our savings. I took a part-time job while my husband was recovering. But when he fully recovered, we transitioned back into me being unemployed as my husband insisted that it was his role to provide. He currently is working 2 full-time jobs and Ubers on his days off to keep us afloat. Here is where I might be the a-hole. I do all of the expense managing and have continued to put money into my escape account, although I significantly decreased from $750 a month to just $200 a month. My husband came home exhausted one night and asked about downsizing because the stress of work was going to kill him. I told him downsizing would not be an option as I had spent years making our house a home and offered to go back to work. He tried to be nice, but basically told me that me going back to work wouldn't make enough. After an argument, my husband went through our finances to see where we could cut back. He was confused when he saw that I had regular reoccurring withdrawals leading back years and asked me about it. I broke down and revealed my money to him, which now sits at about $47,000. After I told him all this, he just broke down sobbing. His point of view is I treated him like a predator and hid money from him for years even when he was at his lowest. I told him that the money was a precaution I would have taken with any partner and not specific to him. He left the house to stay with his brother and said I hurt him on every possible level. But my mom says this is exactly what the money is for and should bail now. Am I the a-hole? You know what made me cringe most in the story? The refusal to downsize. That would help you both, especially if you go back to work. The house you have is too much for your current income. If you love this man, if he has been good to you, you downsize and make life easier. And your mom is wrong to suggest that you should abandon him because you have the money to. He is not abusive, drug/alcohol dependent/financially abusive/cheating. He needs your help. What in this story gives you the idea that she loves him? I'd love to not work and stack nearly $50,000 in 7 years. While husband is working 2 jobs and Ubering on his days off. And she's taking escape money out of those paychecks while watching the poor guy struggling. Oh, but I'm taking less than before. F right off. You should divorce your app. And take half the escape money. My mother came to me privately and talked about setting aside money as a rainy day/escape fund if worst came to worst. Smart. When me and my husband got together, we agreed I would be a stay-at-home wife. Definitely smart to have your own money, just in case. He currently is working 2 full-time jobs and Ubers on his days off to keep us afloat. Here is where I might be the a-hole. I do all of the expense managing and have continued to put money into my escape account, although I significantly decreased from $750 a month to just $200 a month. My husband came home exhausted one night and asked about downsizing because the stress of work was going to kill him. I told him downsizing would not be an option as I had spent years making our house a home. So this is where he lost my sympathy personally. You have more than enough money for a personal emergency fund. You could have put a pause on your personal withdrawals for the past 2 years. He almost died. And your mom, why would you bail now? He's done nothing but support you both. Why haven't you been working if you were so concerned about your escape fund? You don't even have children. You're the a-hole. Exactly this. It's not even necessarily about her having the money, although I feel like that amount is a little much. But it's about the fact that she's letting him work 3 jobs while she's got $47,000 stashed away and she's still adding to it. The amount is completely insane. I was thinking like 5 to 10K could be acceptable if she really needed to dash in a hurry and pay for a couple months of an apartment and groceries or something. Why on earth would she need 50K? And why would she think she could keep adding to it while her husband is literally killing himself to single-handedly keep their family from going broke? That's no rainy day fund. It's enough to live at least full year on. This was so deceitful and selfish, and it doesn't even make sense what the end goal was. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling a man that I was not willing to be a housewife on his salary? I've been seeing this man for a few months and it's been good. We have fun and are quite compatible in most things. However, recently we were having a conversation about long-term goals and where we see ourselves in 5 years. He said he wanted to be married and have a couple kids in a couple of years and have a housewife. He said he will feel like he has failed as a husband if his wife works. I said he should take into account that a lot of women actually have dreams and goals, and his wife may not want to be a housewife. I said I wouldn't want to, and especially not a full-time stay-at-home mom. He was trying to convince me why it would be such a good idea for me to quit my job and just relax because I've been working since I was 16 and had no one to rely on but myself. I've always had multiple jobs even in college and have never had time to just relax and not do anything. I said being a stay-at-home mom or even a housewife is not relaxing unless the husband is a millionaire who hires help. It's not just lounging around all day when chores and or childcare need to be done. I said I would consider it if I made so much money that my salary would seem like peanuts. I explained how, although I do not admire this quality about myself, I'm someone who values comfort and convenience. I've had a very high-paying job for a long time, and I've gotten used to living a good life. I'm not going to downgrade my lifestyle just because it will allow me to stay home and not have a job. Nothing about being unemployed and living an average life sounds appealing to me. I like being able to afford a lifestyle I've dreamt of having as a child growing up in poverty, and I'm not going to allow myself to downgrade for something that isn't a good enough reason to me. We live in the UK. I work for a foreign company, so they pay me a lot more than the standard salary here, but he earns about £35,000 a year. He believes he can comfortably have a housewife with that salary. I said maybe he can, but that housewife will not be me. We would not be able to live a good life on his salary, and I would not be happy. If we both worked and combined our incomes, we could live a really good life instead of living an average life on his salary only. He wasn't speaking to me much in the days after that conversation, and I understood. He probably didn't think we were all that compatible. However, he called me yesterday and got into a 15-minute rant about how I went out of my way to make him feel like shit and worthless by pointing out that I make more than him, and I wouldn't want to be a housewife on his salary. I said that I was being honest about what I wanted, and I shouldn't have to lie about these things. I said we should both be glad we had that conversation and realized we aren't as compatible as we thought, so we don't waste each other's time. He called me shallow and rude for this. I don't really think I said anything outrageous, but sometimes being too blunt does make me look rude and mean. Am I the a-hole? I said maybe he can, but that housewife will not be me. Good answer. Not the a-hole. Yeah, dodge the bullet. Get the hell out. You don't want a man with this level of insecurity in your life. I agree with you. Why would you want to downgrade your lifestyle so that you guys can have a family just to make him feel better about himself? Family has always been about two-way street. What works for both, not just one party. If I were you, I wouldn't even entertain a second thought that perhaps it will change. I'm sure it can change, but just not with you. Not the a-hole. Exactly. I broke up with someone in my 20s over this. He didn't want me to work, but I already made more money than him. I didn't see a point in giving up my lifestyle and freedom for someone else's happiness. He ended up marrying someone who wanted to be a cop's housewife, and I married someone who encouraged my ambitions. And I'm sure we're both much happier now than if we stayed together. Life is too short to stay with someone whose goals are incompatible with yours. Dudes like this really need to take a hard look at what they bring to the table. What exactly was this dude offering that would make a high-income professional woman give up a fulfilling career and affluent lifestyle? Like, I can't imagine the audacity. I wish I had that kind of confidence. Not the a-hole at all. If anything, he should consider being the stay-at-home parent with that salary disparity. Half of £35,000 isn't very much. Plus, he wouldn't lift a finger at home, I'm sure. I was a stay-at-home mom for various logistical reasons when my children were both very small, but my husband earned £100,000 at a time. It had clearly defined time limit, and we could afford cleaner and things like taxis and days out, which made a huge difference. It was bloody hard work, really boring, and I don't recommend it. Yeah, I explained to him that the things I value like taking trips, taking taxis, going out to eat whenever I want, buying myself and the people I love nice things, etc., would all not happen if we lived on just his salary alone. I think that's simple enough to understand, but he wasn't getting it because he believes a woman strives to not work and would take literally anything if it meant they could do that. Not the a-hole. Once you've reached the point where you're having serious conversations about the future, it's very important to be honest. Also, he's delusional. £35,000 could be enough to support 2 people without huge issues in some parts of the UK. But even then, you'd need to live pretty frugally now. You'd have to really struggle to support 2 kids on that salary though, and by my standards, you couldn't do so comfortably. My husband and I earn a little more than 70k euro together, and to be honest, while we do have more than enough for true necessities, it's definitely not enough for everything I wish we could do. He said he will feel like he has failed as a husband if his wife works. He has failed as a husband if he does not respect his wife's decision. Moreover, he is truly delusional if he thinks they can live a comfortable life on his salary in UK. OP is smart and wise to understand that they are not compatible.